Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Random Recommendation Show, the show in which I give you a recommendation for something out there right now in the world of geekery, whether it be from video games, movies, comic books, something out there that we geeks love. And this is also crossover week on my channel. If you've been watching my channel, then you know that this is another theme week, so every single show on my channel this week is themed around crossovers. I kicked it off yesterday with my top 10 favorite video game crossovers. If you didn't get a chance to watch that video, go ahead, click on it right there. It's pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. Okay, that's enough time. And today is no different because today on the Random Recommendation Show, I'm going to recommend to you a comic that is out there right now featuring one franchise crossing over with itself. What? That's the dumbest sound I've ever made. Yes, the comic that I'm going to recommend to you today comes from IDW Comics and it is called Ghostbusters Get Real. Now, if you're a geek about my age, then you grew up with not necessarily the movie Ghostbusters, but the real Ghostbusters. Everyone younger than me is entirely confused right now. Let me clarify. There was a cartoon that came out after the second Ghostbusters film called Real Ghostbusters, and that cartoon was amazing. And this isn't like some nostalgia thing, saying, oh yeah, I saw it when I was 5. It was clearly great, right? Right, everybody? No. This was a legitimately well-made cartoon, and they actually studied up on like all this supernatural stuff. They fought Cthulhu in that cartoon, alright? That was an incredible series. I went back and watched some of it recently before doing this recommendation, just to make sure that it still held up. And holy cow, I was shocked. Like, I watched episodes I'd never even seen before, and I was still impressed with it. Now, jump ahead to the present day, and over the past couple of years, IDW has had their own Ghostbusters comic book, and that's because IDW's motto is, do you remember it from your childhood? Well then we're gonna make it into a comic book. And honestly, I enjoy a lot of the adaptations that IDW does. Like, their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic is insanely good. Like, people kept telling me how good that book was, and I was like, no, you gotta be out of your mind. There's no way it is that good. It is that good. Holy cow. I never thought that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would be one of my favorite comics out there, but it is insanely good. What book am I recommending today? Oh right, Ghostbusters Get Real. But I bring this up because I wasn't that big a fan of their Ghostbusters comic. I thought it was okay. I mean, it wasn't bad. It certainly was not bad, I'm not saying that, but compared to how good all their other adaptations have been, I read this one, I was like, it's okay. Yeah, well, whatever. So I didn't check this out originally, but I saw really good reviews on this book, and so I decided to check it out. And oh my god, it is really good as well. It captures that voice of the old cartoon so well, I can hear the characters' voices in my head. Like, it captures it not just in tone and writing, but also in feel. Like when they are in the real Ghostbusters alternate reality, they actually use lighter coloring and they use thinner line work when they ink it in order to give it that kind of faded cartoon look that the old series had. But also the writing is really sharp too. Like, they nail the voices of all the old characters. Like, I love seeing Peter Venkman from the old series, who was far more jokey than even the movie version of him was. And I love seeing him and this comic book version butt heads. Like, they can't stand each other. Which, when they got introduced, I was like, alright, they're gonna not get along. But even though I called it, it was still very funny to see what happens between them. And Egon, seeing the two Egons work together is hysterical. Seeing like that double, like, yes, kind of attitude is perfect. I absolutely love it. And seeing these two teams interact is a ton of fun because yes, they are each technically the same person, but they are very different from one another, so it leads to some very comical interactions. My favorite being when there's a moment in which one of the Ghostbusters from the comic book universe travels into the real Ghostbusters universe and he sees Slimer, which if you saw the movie was the green gluttonous ghost that they had to fight, but in the real Ghostbusters cartoon, they turned him into their comical, friendly helper ghost. And there's a moment in which they see them and they go, what's that? And they go, oh, that's Slimer. Who? The Sedgwick Ghost. You named him? I thought that was a great exchange. That had me laughing all throughout it. Only thing that I will warn you guys about is that this is indeed for the hardcore Ghostbusters fans, because the reason why the real Ghostbusters got transported into the comic book universe is because this ghost Proteus, who hated the idea of being captured, wanted to capture the Ghostbusters in his own little dimension, but something went awry, and so they got transported to this dimension instead, and they kept referencing Proteus so much, I was like, this has to be something. This has to have been something from the cartoon. So I looked it up, and indeed he was in an episode of the cartoon, And so I went back and I watched that episode, and it is literally the opening of this comic. Like, literally, the first 10 minutes of that cartoon is literally like the first 10 pages of this comic. Like, they went that far into their research and their dedication to make sure this got right. So yes, this is really only for the die-hard Ghostbusters fans, but that's the beauty of it. Because they know that they are appealing to the die-hard Ghostbusters fans, they can go full into that mythology. Because if you are a die-hard Ghostbusters fan, you know these aren't the only two versions of the team. There have been dozens of versions of the team, and they show you all of them. This is Crisis of Infinite Ghostbusters is what this is, because Proteus is looking for the Ghostbusters that he got rid of, and so he travels into every other alternate dimension, and because of that, you get to see all of them. Every different incarnation of this team makes an appearance in this comic book. The Ghostbusters from the Sanctum of Slime video game. The Ghostbusters from that original cartoon where they had a talking gorilla, which, why did they have that? I don't know, never mind. But the Ghostbusters from the Extreme Ghostbusters that came on in the 90s, because it was the 90s, kids. We put extreme in front of everything. We didn't know what that word meant. We used it to describe soda. But they're in there too. They even had from the old Hulk Hogan cartoon when he did a special episode where he got a ghost busting pack and decided to hunt ghosts. They have him in there. I don't even know how they got the rights to do that or even knew that that was a thing. The only Ghostbusters who don't appear in this are the Ghostbusters from the upcoming reboot that's coming out next year, which we've seen cast photos of. So I was kind of hoping that we would get like one quick shot of them in here just as a nice little tip of the hat to them, but you know, maybe they started making this before any of those cast photos came out, so you know, they did what they could. So this gets my highest recommendation for any of you die-hard Ghostbusters fans, but even if you're just a casual fan, even if you just enjoyed the movies alone, this is still a very fun read, and especially if you watched any of the real Ghostbusters cartoon when you were a kid, this is a great nostalgia trip, so definitely make sure that you check it out. Now, if you like this video and you want to see more geeky stuff from me, then make sure to hit that subscribe button right there. If you want to find me somewhere else on the internet, then you can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr. The address is right over there. Get my hand in frame. Thank you. And if you want to watch some more videos from me, like I said, this is crossover week. So you can watch the first video that I did, my top 10 favorite video game crossovers as according to me, some idiot on the internet. It's right there. And also, I'm just going to duck down, because if you want to see the last random recommendation that I did, which was for a manga called My Hero Academia, you can check it out right there. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching this. My knees are about to give out, so I'm going to end this now. Bye everyone!